So I'm talking today with Bahiyya Khan about her game After Hours. So thank you, Bahiyya, for taking a little bit of time to talk with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. So before we get talking about some of the specifics, I really want to pick your brain about this project. Why don't you kind of give us a pitch so if people haven't run into After Hours, haven't heard of it, they know what we're talking about.
Okay, so After Hours is a vignette FMV game that allows you to spend a night in the life of Lilith Gray, a young woman that was molested as a child and has borderline personality disorder as a result.
Perfect. Right to the point. I've been doing something with the interviews we've been doing, which is kind of like going in the order of the things that really grab my attention at seeing these games. So I
Okay.
saw After Hours at Play NYC this past summer. It was part of the Friendship Garden display, and the thing that
Yeah.
really grabbed my attention was the visual style. And I'll have some footage from the trailer going while we're talking, so people can see what I'm talking about. But it is an FMV with this kind of really graphic overlay that's very fluorescent and very eye grabbing and really captures your attention. And I'm wondering what the inspiration for that art style was and kind of what your goal with portraying this story that way is.
Okay, so I knew from the beginning that I didn't want to have the game where it was like the whole thing was animated
Mm,
because I just felt like it would be sort of less personal that way and less graphic. So I wasn't sure which way would I tell the story. And then I came across Sybil by Nina Freeman, which has a lot of video footage elements. It's quite different to After Hours in that our entire game is comprised of film footage, but that's where I got the initial idea. And then in terms of overlaying it with animations, I watch a lot of music videos.
mm-hmm.
So I was one of my favorite bands, All Time Low. They released a music video for the song called "Nice to Know You," and they sort of followed the whole filming thing with animations drawn over. It was the first time I'd seen something like that. So I thought that was really cool,
Hmm.
and it was just something that I was interested in. And then I happened to come across this video on YouTube that followed the same sort of style. And when I saw who made it, it was actually someone from my university.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, whoa, this is insane. Like I can't believe it. And then I went and I found the girl that made it and I let her know, I want to make a game and this sort of style seems exactly like what I'd like to do. Would you be interested in doing it? It was just for a school project. I didn't know that this game would get published at all. And it was just, yeah, she was just really nice, really kind, and helped me out. And now we're best friends. So that's really cool as well.
That's great. That's a great story of friendship and small world story right there. Um, the after I saw After Hours kind of being shown and sat down with it and started playing it and learning more about it, I did learn that it was about borderline personality disorder and sexual abuse, and so I have to ask the question. This may come off as a little harsh, but I don't mean it that way. Um,
Yeah.
what is the challenge of making a game that's not particularly about fun? I think that what you're talking about with After Hours is really important, but it's hard to say that a game about sexual abuse and borderline personality disorder is going to be a fun, lighthearted experience. So the first thing I wanted to ask is kind of some of the what are the challenges you've had in showing people this game, in developing this game, in dealing with something that's so serious and so kind of really heavy in terms of a topic.
Ooh, where to begin? Everything is a challenge. Um, it's been incredibly difficult. Like I actually did a few talks on the topic what to do when your dream game makes you want to die, because that's how I felt working on this game. It I didn't know, like when I set out, I would experience this much difficulty and so many challenges because, like, so I made it for my honors project at university
Mm-hmm.
last year, and I spent about 6 months, just yeah, to a year working on the game and thinking about it and developing it. And to spend such a concentrated amount of time, constantly thinking about like sexual abuse and borderline and all of these things, and then also the pressure to make sure that I was portraying it in a way that it deserved to be
Mm.
portrayed, and not sort of romanticizing anything because nothing about that is lovely. It's
Mm.
awful, you
Yeah.
know. So I needed to make sure that I didn't veer into like problematic Tumblr, romanticizing depression or self-harm or sexual abuse, anything like that. And then just I had to do like I did a lot of research into other cases because I developed like an unhealthy obsession sort of with sexual abuse because I kept thinking like it's happening all the time. I need to know who's it happening to. I need to because I felt like otherwise it was just another statistic, if I didn't actually go read these people's stories and find out what actually happened to them and stuff like that. So that was really difficult. And then also, I have borderline. So dealing with that, like generally in real life, and then dealing with it in a video game, it was just like, what? What's going on? I cannot escape this demon. It was everywhere, And then it was just like when I was thinking, like doing the level design for the game and thinking about the sort of things that I wanted to happen. How did I want this sort of thing that triggered me? How did I want this to play out in the game? All of that. That was really difficult because it was like I was engaging with borderline from almost a scientific perspective, compared to just being like a girl that lives with it generally and wants nothing to do with it. Here I was actively engaging with it, like making the choice to deal with it. And those aren't challenges that, you come across in like a Gama Sutra article or read about somewhere else. So I didn't know it existed. I didn't have any friends or anyone I could talk to who could help me really with this sort of thing because they hadn't been through it either. So in retrospect, I don't know if I know what I know now, if I would actually make the game. But it's also afforded me so many incredible opportunities. So it's sort of like, I don't know, really.
Yeah, but I'm glad that it did get made because it's an important step in the game development story, I guess, if you want to say, in dealing with these difficult issues. In any art form, you want to have some art that makes you happy and some art that really makes you think about life and these horrible things. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but I did want to ask about specifically in writing the story for this character, how you approached treating these difficult issues with the respect that they need. Because I think that's something that a lot of people worry about in creating games that are about serious topics, is they don't want to disparage the topic, or they don't think they'd be able to portray it in the appropriate light. So, maybe not necessarily drilling down into the nitty gritty, but generally, how did you approach that?
I think it was just the fact that I have a lot of, and this is very unfortunate, but I have a lot of female friends that have been through sexual abuse, and like especially in South Africa, we have one of the highest rates of rape and all of these things. So I had a lot of people around me that have been through this sort of thing, and just having very open discussions with them, speaking about it, and with myself as well. So like just thinking, do I think this is glamorizing anything? How does this make me feel? And my friendship group is very like mixed in terms of race and class differences and stuff like that. So I got a very sort of holistic point of view when it came to all of this. So definitely, I think you need to speak about your ideas and play test your game with a multitude of people, because you need to make sure that obviously you can't ever make sure every single person isn't offended by something that you do,
Right.
But you have to try, your level best to make sure that you are reaching a wide variety of people. And then also in terms of like portraying borderline, I didn't really come across media that spoke about it in the way that I experienced it. So I needed to make sure that I was okay with it. Do I think this is accurate? Is this really how it feels? And that sort of thing. And like, as long as I still felt like I was maintaining a sense of integrity with the work and with the way that I was portraying it, I felt okay with it. And with all the people, like I've play tested it around, like in many different countries. So I was really lucky for that because I got different sort of views on the game as well. And that was good because I didn't get any negative feedback on the game. I mean, like aside from all the bugs, but like in terms of content and the way something was portrayed. So it seemed pretty okay to me.
I think that's really great advice in making sure you present these things to a wide audience. I think that's something that, especially in game design, you can fall into a bubble. So that's great advice to people that are aspiring to talk about things like what you're talking about in After Hours. So moving from talking about some of the specifics about the game, we'd love to know kind of your story. So what brought you into the world of independent game design?
So it's I was in grade 11, which is I think junior high for America. No, not junior high. Goodness, being a junior in high school. Yeah, I was 17, not 11, and I came to my university for a career day just to sort of see like the stuff they were offering. And I was never really drawn to any career growing up. Like I thought, oh, I'd probably just play like bass in a band or be a writer or something. I didn't really care. I was very sort of disaffected in high school. Not, I don't know. And then I came to my university for a career day. And I came by myself and I saw this guy who was like really, really hot. So, and he was standing outside the game development booth. So I thought like, shit, I need to do something in order to get closer to this guy. So I went and I pretended to be interested in game design. So I went closer and I was speaking to people about the degree, and that's how I knew it existed at all. And I thought like, oh, this seems pretty cool. I don't really care because I don't play games and I'm not interested in being a game designer, so whatever. And then when I was done speaking to like the lecturers and I looked over, that guy disappeared. So I was so annoyed. But that's how I found out that game design was actually a career. And then later on that year, I went to like this youth group sort of thing that I'm part of that deals in like deepening non-racialism. And I went there and I met this person called Tim, who's actually the programmer on my game now. But that's where we met. So like 6 years ago we met, and he was there, I was there, and he was already studying game design. And then he told me about it and he gave me his number. He was like, if you ever have any questions, let me know. So it just kept coming up in my life. And then my mom put a lot of pressure on me at the end of high school, where she was like, you have to study something. You know, you can't just like drop, like not do anything and just be in a band. You don't even know how to play like bass guitar, whatever you're doing. So I thought, I don't know what to do because I'm not interested in doing anything. Like I really liked science, but I also really liked English and writing. So I didn't know what to do. So I applied for a bunch of things, and I was lucky that I did really well in high school. So my options were open. And then I got a call the day that I got my high school results. And then the first call I got was from the digital arts department telling me that, they'd be delighted to offer me a place in game design. I was like, what? I can't believe I got it. So it was really difficult because they were only accepting 15 people into the university program that year. And my marks before like the end of the year were pretty bad. I was just like, because I didn't care. And then towards the ending, and like they even told me at the university, your marks aren't good enough to get in. And I told them, just hang on, it will be good enough. Like, I know that based on these marks, not going to accept me, but I'm gonna do okay. And then I did well at the end, and then I got accepted, and then that's how I got into games.
Cool, that's a great story. Now you mentioned that you hadn't really played games ever, kind of growing up, but since kind of getting into the whole process of making games, what have been some of the inspirations? We usually ask what games have inspired other developers, but
yeah,
maybe you have some inspirations people might be surprised by in your creative creating of these games.
So the first game that I played by myself that sort of blew my mind was Thomas Was Alone. I Mike Bethel, because it was like I cried so much. And the first time I played it, I didn't know that games had audio. Like So I feel like, yeah, growing up, I might have known that maybe, but it's like it left my mind. So I didn't bother like playing anything. So I didn't hear any of the voiceover, which is really a powerful thing in Thomas Was Alone. So I
Absolutely.
just played the game based on what I saw and read, and I was blown away by that. And then afterwards, my friend was like, "Why are you playing the game like this?" Once I'd completed it. And I said to him, "What do you mean?" And he was like, you know, there's a sound, like this sound. What are you doing?" So I the game. And I was like, what? This is amazing. I can't believe it. So that was the first game that kind of made me fall in love with this medium. It
Mm.
was so cool, such a nice story. Yeah, so I really liked that game. And then I played Dysphoria by Anna
Mm.
Anthropy, which was it was the first time I played a game that was more in line with the sort of games I wanted to make. I thought that that game was really, really cool. And then from there, I made this game called Fuck the System after I played that game, which is about these two really, they're so cute, these two girls that they like fall in love, and one's depressed and one like sort of dismantles the patriarchy in her life. It's really, I love it so much. Not biased or anything. Yeah, and then afterwards, I played a bunch of Twine games. It was the first time I'd
Mm.
come across Twine, and that was really, really cool for me. I love making games in Twine. I often turn like poems that I've written into Twine games.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, it's just another way of writing for me. And what other games were really cool that I played? Um, oh, Everything's Going to Be Okay
Mm.
by Natalie Lohead. I love that game. I love that game so much. It's hilarious and it's super, super funny. I really like playing that game, but I think like my all-time favorite game is Butterfly Soup, which is a visual novel. And I love that game. Like I would call myself a hardcore gamer if all the games I played were like Butterfly Soup. It's insane. I loved it so much. I love games that are like where the writing doesn't feel forced, because I often
Mm.
find game narratives really forced. People don't talk like that in real life, you
Mm.
know?
Absolutely.
Um, so I love that game. Yeah, those are some of the games that I've played.
Are there, and then kind of to bring this discussion to a close, we always like to ask if there's any games that are being worked on that you might know that are in the works from other developers or other teams that have captured your attention that you're excited to see uh, in the future.
My friend Indiedev is working on a game at the moment. I know a little bit about it, but I can't say anything.
That's fine.
So, but it's like based on what he's told me, it seems really cool, and I can't wait to play that. And then, just I don't know, I just like to. I don't know anything else that's really coming out that I'm excited for, but I just like to take this opportunity to speak about one of my friends, who's my age as well. Really, really cool pixel artist, Black South African guy, and he really wants to break into the industry. So if anyone would like to hire a pixel artist, let me know and I will link you to him.
Yeah, and we can throw some his information up here in the
Thank you
interview
so
chat at
much.
the same time. Well, that's great. Bahia, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about After Hours and your background as a developer. We'll have links in the description below to After Hours in a couple different places. So if you're interested in picking it up, then please check it out there.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.